Hi my lovely friends and welcome back. So in today's video we are going to be painting abstract florals. In class 1 we got ready with this background, and so before we get started, let's first choose our colors. As we're going to be painting white flowers, so you will notice that I'm not going to be just using white color directly. I will be using some white color which is going to be the main color for this painting, and I'm also going to be using this burnt umber. Now this is going to play a very important role. In case you don't have this shade, you can use any shade of brown, like just a darker tone we want to make this white color a little dull and darker in shade. Only then that white color will stand out, and you will see that how progressively this white flower will start looking little realistic and like a flower. So that's what our aim is. And I'm also using this color. This is a basic skin tone. This is absolutely optional. I may or may not just use it. This might just help us to make the white color a little tinted, or we might just use it somewhere. I'm not sure at all. So as you can see, this is a flat brush, and the bristle of the brush is very soft. At the same time it is stiff, and this is what we're looking forward. So either you can use this kind of flat brush, or I'm going to be making it by using a filbert brush. The only difference is that the edge you see is a little curved, and it helps you in giving or creating very beautiful looking petals, but this is absolutely optional. You can use a filbert brush. In case you don't have it, please go ahead and enjoy making it by using a flat brush. There's going to be no huge difference in both the brushes. It's just that I have it, so I'm going to be using it. Now we are getting into the fun part. We are going to be painting the flowers, and here I took this filbert brush. It's optional. If you have a flat brush, go ahead and use it. First, we're going to be doing the color mixing. And as you can see, I'm using this white color and using very little tint of this burnt umber. I'm trying to make the color shade little dull and dark. And that's what our aim is. So do that color mixing, get the colors right, and then go ahead and enjoy painting. In case you're a beginner, I'll highly recommend please mark these points for your reference where the flower is going to be. Or in case you have the traceable, please go ahead and draw it. So just make art as simple and as easy as possible for yourself. Just make an outline or this rough area for your seed part. In step 1, you just have to do that. Just mark the points and get the position ready. And as our color mixing is already done, now we're going to be picking up the color randomly on the brush, and we are going to be creating the simple and easy petal shape. Now it's just going to be a 5 or 6 petal flower, so just go ahead and make it a little uneven. It does not have to be perfect. Just mark simple strokes like this. And as you can see, we have intentionally made it a little darker in shade, and that's very important later on because that's going to enhance the highlights and all those beautiful folds and turns that we're going to add. So we need to make this look little realistic in 3D, and just to do that we have to first start adding these darker layers. So we will just quickly do that. It's going to be very simple, and the ends are going to be a little uneven. So either you can make them perfect, or you can just have this kind of uneven end on the corner. Now why am I using filbert brushes? Because it gives a nice end to my flower, like it's curved. So this is what it really helps you. So yeah, it does matter what kind of brushes you're using. Sometimes they make your work a little simpler and easier. So that's the reason I'm using it. But definitely you can use a filbert brush and go ahead and enjoy making it. Trust me, the results are going to be very similar, and they are also going to look very beautiful. Alright, so first layer is just simply making an outline for the petals and adding certain twists and turns. That's important, that is going to enhance the look of the flower, so you should always do that. And here's just marking these end corners and just randomly applying some color on the corner ends. So at this point of time, the first layer of our petals are done, and now we are ready to add the second layer if in case you want it. Like, this is completely optional. So now as you can see, this white petal is visible very prominently, and the reason is because the base petal that you can see is darker in shade. So that is the importance of adding a little darker tint to your white color initially, so that when you start adding these beautiful layers of petals on top and highlights and all those beautiful turns and twists to your flower, they're going to be visible. Otherwise, white color, you won't be able to create all those shadows and highlights by just using one color. So you have to make it a little darker in shade. Alright, so we are just going to be doing the final detailings here, and we are trying to make the flower look little flowy. We are just trying to add little twists and turns. That is a little important, just to add that kind of realistic look to it. So you can always do that by using the same brush. In case you want to use and add those fine lines, you can always switch over to a smaller brush. But for me, these kind of filberts, they work really well, and I enjoy working with larger brushes, and I love working on larger and huge paintings. So I don't know why, but it just makes my work much more easier. Smaller concepts sometimes, they tend to become little, I wouldn't say messy, but I do enjoy making larger paintings now. So these small, practices, they are very, very important, because all these beautiful elements, this kind of practice is just going to help you to loosen out your hand. And these practices also will give you an idea of where you can take your art, like what style you like, how to make, art very easy for yourself. So all those things you will experience and explore when you start working on these smaller concepts and have little studies and practices. So you can always work on these smaller paintings first, and then just try to create something that you want to create, like add flowers that you want, or try to create an effect that really is something that you enjoy painting, or that is your style. So all of these things will only happen when you work on smaller concepts and work on different kinds of paintings, and then decide exactly that what you really enjoy. So yeah, now again on the second flower, I am just making it a little darker in shade and having this kind of uneven end to my petals, and just trying to create a petal or a flower like shape there. So it's going to be completely random, it's going to be abstract, so don't just worry about each and every petal. You just have to remember is you have to add little 3D effect to it so that it looks realistic. In order to do that, first step is very simple. We're just making a little darker. The shade has to be a little more dull and more darker, so that when you add the white layer at the end, because that's going to come at the end. So we need to wait first. We have to first start making the first layer, base layer, and then we'll reach out to that step. In order to get that, we have to first make this layer a little darker in shade. At this stage, the base layer is completely dry, so I picked up this white color directly on my Filbert brush. At this stage, you can always remember is to not add water to your color mix, because it's gonna just lighten down the shade of that white color, because we want that bright white color to be seen now. The best time is when the base color is dried. So, you will be able to apply that white shade directly, and this will also help you to achieve that kind of highlights. At the same time, add those natural twists and turns to the flower. So it's very simple and easy that you let the first layer dry completely. Only then you add this white color on the top like this, and just give a final end to your flower. Once the first base layer of our flower is ready, now we're going to be adding some more detailings on the seed area. So now as you can see that I'm using the brush directly, and by using the tip of my brush, I'm trying to create this kind of seed area. These are tiny, lines, just to add that beautiful pattern there on the center, which is also curved. So you can always get that by using the same brush. In case you're not comfortable in this, please go ahead and use a liner brush or any round brush number 0. So that will really help you to get those fine lines. But I think by using this kind of brush, it really helps it to create more denser effect, at the same time create a more natural looking seed area for me. So I really enjoy making it by using the same brush. And yes, on the center area you can add this line. So yeah, it's your choice. You can use this round brush number 0 or use the same brush for creating the center part as well. So you can always blend those bottom part, because that area is going to be very much dense and merged. So these few detailings, they really add to the flower, and they also help you to get that kind of beautiful depth, the natural depth to it. So you can always think of doing that. You can use a flat brush, a small separate flat brush, and do those cleanings, and those endings can be handled by using a separate brush as well. So these are few techniques and tips that you can always use for getting those center area fixed. So once even this was done, now I'm going to be using some cadmium yellow color and adding some more detailings to my center seed part. So what I'll suggest you is always use this kind of old flat brush. Now these brushes really work like magical wands for creating beautiful grasses, for all those foliages, and especially on the center seed part, they really work well. In case you don't have it right now, all you can do is you can have a very inexpensive flat brush, and on the tip you can add some acrylic color and let it dry. So it would become very rough and uneven, so that would also help you to create this kind of and if in case you have an old flat brush lying around, and in case you have an old flat brush lying around, just bring it on and try to use it in your paintings. It is definitely going to help you in creating those beautiful and natural looking textures. So yeah, we're just tapping it by using cadmium yellow color in few parts, and the center seed area is all ready. If you want, you can actually leave the flowers here and you can call it done and move on to the second step. Or in case if your flowers have also gone a little dull, because white color, it just tends to get absorbed and become lighter. So what you can do is you can always have the final outline on top of it and add the final highlights on top by using pure white color like this. So what I'm doing is I'm picking up this white color. This is very thick, and just adding it on top of it to add that vibrant white color on top. And this is absolutely optional. In case you're happy with your layers and you're done with it, please don't go ahead and extend your work, and you can just go ahead and start working on the leaves and other things. You can just fast forward the video and move on to the second part. But I really thought that that white color will add to the final end look of the flower, so that's the reason I'm adding the third layer as well. Here I want to share with you an important tip in case you mess up or you're not happy with one of your petal or a complete flower. Then what you can do is you can just make it darker in shade like this, because I wasn't very happy with this single petal and I wanted to add different twist and basically just turn this a little bit. So that's the reason I made it a little darker. So what this will help me is it was just going to give me a beautiful base to start working all over again. and then when I'm going to be adding that white color directly on top, it's going to stand out at the same time, make my work very easy. So you can also do that. In case you make any mistake, you can just apply a layer of color on top of it all over again and start adding white color like this. So this will help you in those parts where you're not happy about it and also give you better results. And now I picked up this rose pink shade. In case you don't have it, you can always add some white color to your pink color and just make it very light in shade like this. This is absolutely optional. You can use any other shade that you want, but I thought that this color is going to complement around the flowers really well. That's the reason I'm using it. Now once I just start applying it around the flower, it's also going to define the flower and make it stand out even better. So that's also one goal why we are doing it. And when you are just going around the flower, just creating the corner ends like this and defining the flower, you might notice that the ends are very abrupt and they are not well defined. In order to have those clean ends around the flower, what you can do is you can either just add little white color to your same color mix, like you can just randomly pick up white color on your brush and try to blend it outwards and get a clean end. In case even that does not work out, all you can do is you can just wash your brush and remove all the pigment from your brush and just try to get that clean end. So these are few tips that will really help you to get those cleaner kinds of end when you just apply it, and this is just going to define the flowers and make them stand out. And later we're just going to be adding some depth so that it starts looking a little 3D, and we can add some shadows around the flower as well. And now to add the depth, I'm just mixing both these colors together just to create a darker shade in order to create some kind of shadows around the flower. So you can initially just add some shadows in between two petals, and like you can see, I'm just adding it here on the bottom area just to make them look little protruding and lifted. So this is very important that you do them in few areas and also blend the corner ends. So this step will really help you to add the shadows between the flowers. And now we're going to be adding leaves around the flower. For that I took this sap green color, and now I'm going to be sharing with you how to create a beautiful watercolor effect by using acrylics. And this is going to be very beautiful, and the technique is simple and easy. So now for making the leaves, all you can do is you can take a flat brush. So I'm going to be sharing with you how to make leaves by using a simple flat brush. So we are just going to be using this today. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll just pick up some color on the brush, and this time I've also added a little water to my color mix so that the brush can move very smoothly, and that's very important. When I got the shade ready on my brush, I'm using this flat brush and I'm just going to be adding basic leaves. You start from the tip of the brush and try to create a petal shape like this, and you can just add 2 to 3 colors so that it looks more beautiful. And leaves are just gonna have very different color shades, so just don't make them a one color. You can have different other color mixing and change the color shade a little bit of each and every leaf so it looks more natural. So as you can see, by using the tip of my brush only, I'm trying to create these fine lines. And this is the best thing about these kind of flat brushes, which have a very beautiful end tip. The chisel tip is really nice, so it helps you in achieving everything. We'll just go ahead randomly and start adding some more leaves around the flower like this. And once it is done, we are also trying to create some kind of watercolor effect. For that, I added a lot of water to my white color and the sap green color, and I'm adding this texture on the corner. So we are going to be intentionally making the intensity of color very lighter in shade when we move outwards. So this is also going to give a beautiful ending and that look to a flower. Tip here would be that you keep changing the shade of green color in the entire composition. Just don't make all the leaves of the similar color and you will see the difference. And now to add that kind of watercolor effect, I took this hairspray bottle which is filled with water and I'm just adding it on the corner ends, and as you can see, it creates a very beautiful texture on the corner where the colors are just getting infused themselves and creating a very blurry end to our leaves and giving a very beautiful watercolor effect. And that's the goal. In case you don't have it, you can just add some water on the corner ends so that it just blends out like this, and you will be able to create a beautiful watercolor effect as well by just using the brush and some water like you can see here. So you don't need this bottle and this hairspray bottle. If in case you don't have it, you can definitely enjoy it by just using some water around the leaves and create a basic watercolor texture and create a watercolor effect around it like this. Just picked up the same burnt umber color and I'm adding a lot of water to the color mix, and by using the tip of the brush I'm just trying to add this kind of stem in between this composition in the flower. So you can just use the tip of your brush and create these fine lines. In case you're not very confident, then please feel free and use any a fine liner brush or round brush number 0 and make your work very simple and easy. So I'm mixing this dark brown color and sap green color together and trying to create a color mix, and then I'll be creating these fine lines to add those beautiful stem ends and those lines here and there. And it is important that we add little water to our color mix, and you can see the difference that the brush is moving very smoothly. At the same time, it will also help you to achieve these fine ends. Now it is important to get that closing for your stem or anything that you're making here, especially which is the greener part. You have to make it very pointed. The tip has to be very beautifully merged and should be as fine as possible. So that's going to look more realistic and natural. So you can always do that. What you can do is you can just leave the brush with very little pressure in the corner end so that it just moves and creates a very fine and natural end to your stem or any leaf that you're making there. And now I picked up this round brush number 0 and I added a little white color to my color mix so that I can add those fine detailings of leaves. Now remember, it should have different shape of leaves in order to make it a beautiful looking composition, because you just can't make those bigger leaves and leave the composition as it is, because whenever you notice any natural floral composition or bouquet composition, you'll always see that there are different other leaves, and everything is of different shape and size, and that's the illusion that we want to create here, that it's going to be somewhere very tiny cute leaves of different shades in color. Here I'm adding the base for creating the white flowers. When this layer will dry, then we'll be adding white flowers on top later. Now we're all set to add some more flowers around this composition, so I picked up this mauve shade. It's completely optional. In case you want to use any other color, please go ahead and do that. Now before I get started with the main flower, I'm also going to be adding a few leaves here and there. This is just to fill that background also. It's going to give more clearer look to our flowers when it's going to come on top of it. So adding them on the background really makes them look wonderful. So once I do that, I'm just going to be picking up this very pointed round brush and adding some more leaves here and there. Now the shade, as you can see, is very light, and that's what I want to achieve right now, because we are almost closing this corner, so it can be very watery, just to also give a very beautiful watercolor effect, and this is absolutely optional. So once you do that, now I'm going to be picking up this Filbert brush. I'm not adding any water at this stage because I just want both the shades of this color to be seen, prominently. Some white, some light purple. So it's going to just be very light here in step 1. So you can always use the brush as it is without adding any water. Remember, at this stage, do not work on adding a lot of flowers. It looks very beautiful and pretty if you add some birds on some corners and try to make them smaller in size. They give a more beautiful ending to the flower or the composition that you're making. So just do that. At this stage, as you can see, I'm picking up the purple and white shade randomly. It's not completely one shade, and that looks really nice. So try to do that, just mix both the colors on the brush, not completely. Let few parts of both the colors be visible. And just to create a little ending to my flowers, I'm picking up some water on my brush and trying to add it on the corner area just to have a beautiful merged end and also to give that watercolor effect to the flower. And now by using the same old flat brush, I'm directly picking up some white color on the tip. And now I'm going to be marking these small points here and there and creating this kind of effect to create these wildflowers. Now this is the importance of these old flat brushes, they really make the work very simple and easy. At the same time, the kind of texture and effect it's going to create, it's going to be very realistic looking. So that's the aim. So I'm picking up this old flat brush and tapping my brush like this only on the top area to add those tiny little wildflowers. And one tip here would be, in case you find during the process that your white color is fading down and is not standing out and the white color is not visible very prominently, then you can always go ahead on the top like this and pick up the white color directly on the brush. Make sure it is a little thick so that it can stand out. At the same time, just apply it on the corner ends so that those very uneven ends can be visible and the white color can stand out. So by now you make all this painting finished and this is ready to be varnished. But in case you want to give it a more realistic and more mature look, then you can follow certain tips that I'm going to be sharing with you. Like here what I did is I'm just creating this kind of white, beautiful blurred effect in the background to create more mist and kind of, very blurred background. And that's really important. That's something that I love to do. So here also in the flower section, as you saw, I just made it a little merged and, little part of the background by using that white color. So you just have to go around in the circular direction of the brush and try to blend the corner ends, especially these tiny little flowers. And you will see the difference that the entire painting will, look very blurred. It will have that kind of beautiful vibrancy in the background. So in case you want to add some more mature look to your artwork, you can always follow this step. So this is how how our painting looked like, and in case you want to enhance this painting even more and add more realistic and mature effects on top of it, then you can join me on the last final part where I'll be also covering few art tips along with the entire summary of the painting. So you can join me there. So I'll see you very soon in my next one. Till then, take care and thanks for watching. Bye.